In this film, I'm going to be talking about the Growing Older Planning Ahead project, which was funded by the National Institute for Health and Social Care Research. The project was focusing on supporting people with learning disabilities and family carers to lead good lives as they grow older. There were 4 universities involved in the research and other organisations, and we all worked together over 30 months to complete the project. It was divided into 5 parts. Part 1 was a literature review. This means reading everything that's written about a particular topic, in this case, people with learning disabilities growing older. We read lots of articles and reports to find out what others have said about this topic, and we found there wasn't very much at all. We wrote 3 reviews. We found there's not enough good support or information for people and their family carers as they get older. We need more research to understand how things can be improved. In part 2, we wanted to find out where the excellent providers are in England. In order to do this, we had to understand how other people describe excellence in terms of living arrangements for older people with learning disabilities. We contacted 259 people who work for the local authority and found out about 80 organisations. We then had to decide who should be included in our study. We found 4 key types of living arrangements. These are living in the family home and going to a day centre, living in a residential or nursing care home, living in supported living, which means living in your own home or sharing a house with other people, with support workers coming in, and shared lives. This means people live with another family and the shared lives carer is paid to support you. In part 3, we spent time hanging out with people who were supported by providers identified as excellent in part 2. Researchers, including people with learning disabilities and family carers, spent the day with people doing what they did. This is called ethnography, or hanging out with a purpose. We found living well means living in a house you love with people you choose, close to your family if you have family, being supported to have friends and do fun things, being supported by people you know and like, and spending time outside in nature. We found growing older well means thinking about what happens when you age, paying attention to your health, having a home you can grow older in, and being supported around death and dying. Here, Robin's support worker, Hannah, describes the treasure hunt that they go on together.
I make the maps and we add markers for places of interest for Robin. We try and get a mix of places he can get to locally, on public transport or by foot, and places further away, and maybe a new experience. He's been to woods, parks and forts. We always check to make sure the location is accessible for him. His favorite places are beaches, as he thinks all pirates used to bury their treasure on beaches. Robin has a bucket that has his treasure hunting items in. He also brings a metal detector. As we walk around, Robin will look at his maps to find the places of interest. We then distract him once we hide the coins, jewels, clues or map. People passing by usually take an interest in what he's doing and will play along. There's a treasure chest at the end. He has so many chests of gold now though, that we need to look at other items he can find. Robin loves adventuring into caves in the hopes of finding bones or a chest. He will also bring a shovel, but staff normally do the digging.
What providers do is important. It's important that providers look after staff so they want to stay in their job. And it's important that staff are supported to be confident, well-trained and happy. We also learned that it's support that's poor or challenging and not people. Here is Andrew enjoying a trip to a day activity centre. Part 4 of the project was about co-producing resources to help people plan for the future.
In this part of the study, we want to find out what would help people with learning disabilities and their families to make plans for the future. Hi, I'm Mr. Keegan Ball. I'm a research assistant here at Kingston University. I have a learning disability. It's good to be employed here because I can give expert experience and know of how it is to have a learning disability and give good advice I can. I'm going to tell you what we did on the project. First of all, we did interviews and focus groups with people with learning disabilities, their mum and dads and their brothers and sisters. When we interviewed people with learning disabilities, we found ways of making it easier for people to tell us what they thought. We used books beyond words, pictures, so people could help us to tell a story about someone moving home. We used talking mats so people could tell us things like what they would be worried about if they moved house. You can listen to what some people told us.
Like they said, like, Tony, get back home at 5 o'clock or get back home at 4 o'clock. I wouldn't like doing that because I like to get back like when I want to.
Now, right now. We should be doing something now, definitely. I'm not in good health and my husband's not either. And the thought of them still living here when we go just frightens the life out of me.
If you go and say, I need to have a discussion about something, to try and push this agenda forward, they'll always say, we're only dealing with emergencies.
Next, we've got a group of people with learning disabilities and their families. We made some cards to help people to think about and talk about what's important now and in the future. We started off looking like this. Then we tried lots of different versions with the co-design group and ended up with these. There's a big picture and writing on the front and some ideas of things to talk about on the back. None of this would have been possible without our brilliant co-design group, so thank you.
The final part of the project, Part 5, involved producing training materials and co-designing recommendations. We held 3 co-production events, which included self-advocates, family carers, people from NHS England and regional trusts, the Care Quality Commission, local authority delegates, service providers, commissioners and researchers. At these meetings, we discussed the emerging project findings and talked about what our recommendations should be. For people who couldn't attend these meetings, we produced session plans for self-advocacy groups. These had comics, quizzes and questions around key areas of our research. We also produced an easy-read version of this. Other project outputs include a resource for social work students and practitioners and 2 open learn courses.
I want to know more about what you guys think of those words. Challenging behaviours or behaviours that challenge others. What do you think about them?
I think saying that it's a label, and I don't like to be labelled.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just, I'd rather have behaviour that challenges than the challenge behaviour because it sounds better.
Yeah. Why does it sound better to you?
Because it's people that has behaviour throughout their lives, and I suffer from behaviour problems myself, so I know I'd rather have that.
Biggest thing by far that anyone can do that I think is the most powerful and the only thing, apart from knowing your rights, is learn about person-centred planning. And I don't just mean the term being person-centred, because that's bandied about like it's a thing that happens everywhere, but actually really, really learn about what person-centred planning is and what it means to be person-centred.
We also produced academic publications with more to come. So, what did we learn? We learned that people can be supported to lead good lives as they grow older. However, there's little attention paid to the ageing of people with learning disabilities, which means that services are not appropriately commissioned or designed for people. It also means that older people with learning disabilities don't have the opportunity to lead fulfilling and meaningful lives as they grow older. We found no levels of ambition and aspiration. There's a lack of knowledge about what good support looks like, and a lack of information. It's not clear who's responsible for coordinating the support of people as they grow older, and there was a striking lack of social workers in our research. Attention should always be paid to addressing the causes of distress rather than labelling it behaviours that challenge others. And finally, our project recommendations. Well, our main project recommendation is a biggie. It's the urgent need for a new strategy for older people with learning disabilities and family carers, which covers the commissioning, design and delivery of services. This is essential in order to enable people to lead good lives. And a taste of our other recommendations: introduce peer learning and critical friends among providers and commissioners, recruit staff based on being kind, encouraging and knowledgeable, change staff appraisal processes to become more celebratory, and focus on the small things that make a difference. We hope you've enjoyed this film and learning more about our Growing Older Planning Ahead project, and we would like to thank everybody who has been involved. Thank you.